Hello, this is Rabbi Sammy Bergman of Beit Midrash Zichron Dov, and this is the fifth video in a series of 6 videos which discuss Jewish responses to destruction. While the previous videos have been about responses to the destructions of the First and Second Temple, I'd like to travel about a millennium in the future and discuss the response of the Rabbi Meir Rotenberg, Mayor of Rotenberg, a leader in 13th century German Jewry, someone whose halachic decisions we rely on until today. I'd like to discuss his response to a tragedy that occurred during his time. In 1242, in France, after a disputation about the Talmud, cartloads, 24 cartloads of written manuscripts of the Talmud were burned near the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And Mayor of Rotenberg, in a kina that we recite on Tisha B'Av, responds to this tragedy. But Mayor Rotenberg himself lived a difficult life. He lived in Germany, where in a time where Jews were persecuted, were given a lower political status. He himself, while trying to flee Germany, died in prison. And he actually prevented the Jewish community from redeeming him from prison. But someone who experienced so much difficulty, it's enlightening to see how he expresses his tragedy and grief over the burning of these holy books. And on Tisha B'Av, where we cry over so many horrific destructions, temples that were destroyed, people that were killed, it's worth studying how Mayor of Rotenberg puts this tragedy into focus, into context. How shall we mourn over the burning of these precious manuscripts? And I'd like to share with you some of the words he poetically describes in the keynote known as Sha'ali Srufa Be'esh. Rabbi Meir Rotenberg personifies the Torah, and he talks to it as if it's something that can actually hear his words. He says, Sinai halachem b'cha b'achar Elokim u'ma'as b'dolim b'zara b'gvolayich. He says, Har Sinai, where the Torah was given, the small mountain. Is this why God chose you? And didn't want bigger mountains? Liot l'mofei da ki tema'eh v'torei mikvoda. Is it to show that the Torah would be brought down, would be lessened, and brought down from its honor, so that we can make a parallel about it? A parable can be drawn, says Rabbi Meir Rotenberg in his keynote, to a king who cries during the feast over the birth of his son, because he knows that he will eventually die. That's what you're like, Sinai. We start off giving the Torah a small mountain because look what happened to the Torah. Look what happened to it. Har Sinai, don't wear clothes of grandeur and royalty. Put on clothes of a widow. I will bring down tears until they're like a river, and they will reach the tomes of the two of your officers, Torah. He talks to Torah and says, my tears will reach your officers. Moshe v'Aaron, Behor Har, Vashal. Hayesh Torah chadasha b'chenis rifugilayach. I'm going to ask Moshe and Aaron with my tears. Is there a new Torah? Is there a new Torah, and that's why you were burned? The third month of Sivan, when you were given Torah. But look what happened in the fourth month, where your beauty was destroyed, all your joy, all your glory. We chucked the luchot, we threw down the luchot. And then this year in Tammuz, you were burned, Torah. Is this your double payback? Rabbi Meir Rotenberg talks to the Torah. he talks to the Torah to express his mourning and grief. And his creative expression gives voice to that mourning and grief, puts it in context. And I think now, when we're far removed from the destructions of the temple, we should think of ways to make use of this idea of creative expression, personifying our grief, finding ways to talk to it, to talk about it. Because it's only if we're able to properly express the feelings that we experience that we'll be able to truly appreciate the difficult times that we've experienced. And so hopefully we can take the message of Rabbi Meir Rotenberg to appreciate the troubles of our own time and to properly express and give voice to our deepest pain.